What is up, guys? Welcome to my channel. This is my preview and thoughts on the upcoming UFC 308 Ilia Topuria vs Max Holloway pay-per-view card, with a great co-main in Robert Whittaker vs Khamzat Chimaev. Two fights we've really been looking forward to. The Chimaev one, we've been looking forward to it for a bit longer because it was booked earlier. But these are two fights that just juicy as hell. This gives me old school UFC card vibes. I guess because it's in Saudi, they're making it a bit juicier than the usual. But these are the kind of pay-per-view cards. This should be a standard pay-per-view card, in my opinion. I'm not saying every main event's going to be as good and as important as this main event, but just generally, the level of star power and fighters on the card should be real attractions, and that's what we should be getting for pay-per-view events. You know what I mean? Some of them have been pretty skeletal, if you like to use that word. So without further ado, let's get into this. Let's go down to the bottom. Oh yeah, Gan Volkov cancelled. Volkov injury. That's a shame. That would have been a good technical fight to watch. And Rinat Fakhrendinov versus Nursultan Ruzaboyev. That's cancelled. Ruzaboyev withdrew. Doesn't say why. I'm going to call Rinat. He's still on the card. So let's get into this. Israel Nordiev versus Bruno Silva. I think there's a reason he's on the card. It says Middle East. He's from the Middle East. I mean, I remember he washed out of UFC a while back. Where is it? So he lost the transfer counter. It wasn't a great fighter. Well, he beat Michel Prazeres, lost the transfer counter, beats Sia Bahadazada, and Bahadazada is a banger. He's not the most well-rounded fighter. He's more of a banger, but man, he's a dangerous fighter and he hits hard. Strong fighter. Lost to Sean Brady, got sent packing. And in his last three fights, he won his last fight, but before that he got punched up and armbarred. So yeah, I think there's a reason he's in there, probably because of where he's from. He's going up against Bruno Silva, who's the favourite, near even. I'm going to take Bruno Silva in this fight. Where's Bruno Silva in his career? I mean, I always forget Bruno Silva, 20 wins by KO, never been KO'd, and this is a hard game to never have been KO'd in. 4-5 in UFC, but he's better than this record shows. Rear naked choke by Allen, decision to Sharon Magomedov. But then again, losing to Chris Weidman, that's never a good sign. But I'm still going to pick Bruno Silva to win. This is a good fight. Ivo Aslan versus Rafael Coqueira. Man, so this guy's debuting. Aslan, he's had a couple, haven't he? He's had one fight in UFC versus Turkali. I remember that. Turkali hasn't turned out to be a very good fighter though. Overhand right. Man, this is a tough one. I mean, he's fighting a heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight, but he's been fighting on the regional level. I mean, who's the favourite? Slight favourite. I'm going to lean towards Ivo Aslan because he's the favourite. But I've just seen him fight. I've never seen Rafael fight, so I'm going to go with Ivo. But I wouldn't be surprised either way where this goes. Big boys, hit hard. What's his knockout record? Yeah, 8 wins by knockout. This guy can bang, and he is undefeated, which does, it means something even at the lower level. Because a lot of guys who look at their records, they fought guys in the regional who both end up in the UFC anyway. So you can't always just say, oh, he hasn't fought anyone. You might have fought someone on the regional who's a really good fighter who just hasn't made it to the UFC yet, fully developed. Hunad Fakhrendinov versus Carlos Leal. I'm obviously going with Renat. I mean, the guy is a beast. 4-0 in UFC, 1 draw. He lost to Craig Jones in grappling, got triangle choke, no shame in that. Took him 11 minutes to do it. He had a split against Dalby, Kevin Lee, Brian Battle. Yeah, I remember that. Kevin Lee came back and they're like, yeah, Kevin Lee, you've come back, fight this guy. He beat Brian Battle. That Brian Battle win's looking pretty damn good now, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Would have been Pooh Bear back then as well. Thank God he changed that name. Man, when I was in France watching Brian Battle in the octagon after, and the way they had to run him out, you might not have seen it on the broadcast, but the way they had to cover him and the way the French fans, it was right in front of me, the way they were throwing things at him and that, it was just hilarious. It was really something to watch, to behold. Victor Hugo versus Farid Basharat. This is a massive favourite, which I don't recommend in UFC, having favourites this high, especially when you're fighting a guy who's 25-4. He's only 1-0 in UFC. Man, Basharat 3-0. His brother has lost recently. I doubt that'll affect him. I'm going to go with Basharat by submission. I think it'll be a decent fight though. I think this guy's going to give him a decent test. but it is only his second fight in UFC. Piss off. This fight, I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to put money on it because he's a plus 400 underdog. And Kennedy and Zechku, although he's come on a bit recently, in recent times. Well, actually, I say that he was coming on a bit, and then Justin Jacoby right cross, and then over in St. Pro decision split. I mean, how this guy's a favourite, I do not know. I don't trust. I mean, how the bookies are trusting him to be that much of a favourite. I hope the bookies have got this kind of numbers in Ladbrokes, because I'm going to be going there tomorrow to place my bets. I've got 2 or 3 I'm going to be betting against. I'm going to be betting against this fella for sure in a parlay. I'm definitely taking Chris Barnett by KO. I think Chris Barnett by KO. I mean, he's not that reliable either, but I'm just picking him. The guy's wild. He's fun to watch. When he does that flip and lands on his ass, I think it's hilarious. Just for that alone, I'm picking him. No, I'm joking. But Bruno Ferreira versus Magomedov. I believe Magomedov is a slight favourite. What I've seen from a boost, I'm taking Bruno Ferreira. I just am. He's 2-2 in UFC. Yeah, he has fought some really good guys, but his wins are against subpar opposition. To be fair, Bruno Ferreira, the guy is an animal. He didn't look great, I don't think, in his last fight, did he? Did he gas out? Spinning elbow, round 1. No, he wasn't gassing out then. Where was he gassing out? Couldn't have been the Rusev fight. I'm sure I seen him gassing out in a fight. Left, round 1. These are all round 1s. I'm sure I must be getting him confused. I could have sworn I saw him gassing out in a fight. But yeah, man, I think you gets him out of there. I think Ferreira by KO. Orabali versus Rebecca. Man, he had what was his last fight against? Alvis Brenner. Yeah, that was a tough, good fight. That Brenner got whooped after that, though, didn't he? Orabali versus Rebecca. Who's the favourite in this? Whoa, he's a big underdog, Rebecca. That's not a bad pick as an underdog. This is a tough one to pick. I think Rebecca got blasted. Didn't he get bloodied up in his last fight? Quite bad. Yeah, he took a beating. Yeah, I'm taking Orabali, and I think he stops him because Rebecca took an absolute hammering in his last fight. I remember that. He completely gassed. It was bad. This is my other pick. Look at this, 250 underdog. He's ranked 57 in the world at lightweight. Jeff Neal's a number 11 welterweight. I think that's disgraceful. They've got him at 57 worldwide. There's no way he's that low. Maybe he's had some tough recent fights. I know he's got a lot of losses piling up, 21-14, but the guy's a legend. Do you know what I mean? And that Gamrot fight, like a lot of Gamrot fights before Gamrot finally got his ass whipped by Hooker, I saw a lot of openings, and there was a lot of moments where he could have had Gamrot out of there, and Gamrot managed to just get that leg, get that sweep, do whatever he does, get it to the floor and win those fights. And you know, same with Jalen Turner almost had him out there, and then the one guy who managed to do it, keep him on the feet and keep the defending and keep getting back up and beat his ass. Dan Hooker of all people, crazy. But I'm picking Dos Anjos. I think Dos Anjos takes him down, controls him for 3 rounds, grinds him out, grinds out a hard vote decision. It might get hairy on the feet at some points because Jeff Neal hits hard, but I don't see him taking old RDA out of there. I think RDA grits this one's out as a grimy veteran performance, and then I think he takes a dub in this, the W. Gets the dub. Shara Bullet versus Petrosian. It's got to be Shara Bullet, but Shara Bullet, he has looked like he was going to gas, and I'm pretty sure this guy's had some tough competition, isn't he? Let's have a look. So he hasn't had that much experience. So debut, you got RoboCop, and it was a split. That's no shame getting a split, losing the split to RoboCop. Then he lost to Caio Barralho. That loss is looking a lot better now. AJ Dobson, he won against Christian Leroy Duncan. He won against. He's more of a hype. Well, he's not a hype job, but he was overhyped. He needs the experience. He hasn't got to that level. And actually, it was Rodriguez who put the whooping on Duncan, wasn't it? Wasn't it? It was RoboCop, wasn't it? Yeah. That was a tough fight for him, but a learning fight. But fuck's sake. Back to Petrosian. Man, Adolfo Vieira, round 1. Man, this is a tough one to pick, but I'm going to go with Shara Magomedov, even though I don't trust his gas tank. This picture of him with his rope like a kickboxer movie. What I'm going to do, put glass in the wraps or something. But yeah, I'm picking Shara Magomedov by, I think, decision. I don't think he gets him out of there. unless he takes him down, tries a submission. If he keeps it on the feet, I see Petrosian surviving, only because I just feel unless Shara blows him out there, which I don't think he will, I don't think this guy has the ability to finish people later on in fights on the feet, unless he takes them out quick, because his gas tank does not seem that great. You know what I mean? For a middleweight as well. Ankalaev versus Rakic. Rakic is a huge underdog. He's the other one I'm picking. I'm not super confident because Ankalaev is good, but it just seems like he's doomed. I feel like he's doomed to have a Tony Ferguson trip over the cable injury and never fight again or something. I just feel like he's just a donk. He's doomed, and I just feel like the gods, MMA gods, are not with him. The MMA gods are against him fully. And Rakic, I was looking at his record earlier. It's actually quite impressive. So if you look in the UFC, his loss to Ozdemir was a split. And, you know, he's been in the UFC a fair few years now. You know, well over 5 years. The Jimmy Mano head kick. I remember that was brutal. I think that was around the same time Gus KO'd him, or just after Gus had KO'd him. So a quick look. I'm sure Gus KO'd him just before that. So Alexander. Oh no, was it? Oh, it was a long time after that then. Right, okay, I got that totally wrong. Never mind. Is this computer messing with me or what? Right. God damn it. So back to Rakic. Yeah, so yeah, the split lost to Ozdemir, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, older guys, Blachowicz, leg injury, Prochazka, ground and pound. He was owning that fight. He looked amazing in that fight until he just got clipped and fell apart, which wasn't a good look. I didn't like the way he reacted to getting hit. Didn't like the way he reacted to how he reacted after getting hit in the rest of the fight until he was finished. But man, it might have run out for you, you know, that style. But much like Tim Tszyu this weekend. But I feel like Prochazka, man, he just outmans people, and he just got outmanned. But that wasn't a good look in that last fight. But I really think that would have hurt him, because I feel like that's the first real true. Like, forget about, I always say first loss does not count. I do not care. 0-0, and this guy never fought again since. The guy never fought again. But that's his first true loss. Because look, it's a split. You can go and thinking, well, I was 1 point away from, you know, winning that fight. Leg injury, it is what it is. And then even though we could say Jan caused it in a way, but then that fight is a true loss, which there's no excuse for. So I think he would have gone away, done some soul searching, you know, trained hard, and I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. Ankalaev, man, the guy's a beast, but I'm picking Rakic, and I think Rakic wins. I think he outpoints him. I think Ankalaev's just, I don't think anyone's going to be taking him out of the game anytime soon. Unless your name's Paul Craig, you know, take a crazy beating and then do a submission. When Paul Craig retires, he's going to look back. Some of the wins he's had over champions, like Jamal Hill was a champion, Ankalaev, if he becomes champion, you know, imagine if Ankalaev became a champion and then retired. The only person to beat him would be Paul Craig. So Paul Craig has got some things he's going to be proud of. Do you know what I mean? Even though things aren't going his way these days. Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. Man, I picked against Lerone Murphy in the Barboza fight. I will not be doing that again. Man, I think Lerone stops him. I think a round 3 stoppage. I think he puts a beat down on Dan Ige, and I think he gets him out of there. I think he's too young, too fresh, too hungry, too strong, too Birmingham. Big up Birmingham. I think he's from Birmingham. Is he from Birmingham? So look, he's from Manchester, Lancashire. He's too manny. But yeah, I think Lerone Murphy stops him. Now, Hobbit Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. Man, I've gone back and forth in this fight. If it was a 5-round fight, I would 100% pick Whittaker. And I'm going to pick Whittaker anyway in a 3-round fight. I think Whittaker wins 2 rounds, and I think Chimaev wins 1 round. And I think the judges rob him and give it to Chimaev. I think that's what happens. I think the sheikhs will be behind him with their samurai swords, sort of waving it ominously to the judges, like Sal Diamato, like, yeah, Sal, you know who wins this fight, right? Yeah? No, I'm joking, allegedly. But yeah, I think Whittaker keeps this on the feet. I think Khamzat gets teed up on the feet with the kicks and the punches and the blitzes. I don't think he'll handle it. I don't think he'll handle it at all. I think he'll be desperate for the takedown, trying to hold Robert against the cage. I don't think he'll be able to hold him against the cage. I think Robert's wrestling is going to surprise him. I think Chimaev's going to be desperate for the takedown. I think he's going to be desperate for the takedown. I think he's going to gas out going for the takedown. And I think Robert's going to just tee off on him and think he's going to just beat him up and humble him and give him a lesson. And afterwards, Chimaev's going to come on the mic with his robbery victory and act totally normal like he won the fight. Fair and square, 30-27. Kind of like Paddy and Jared Gordon's kind of thing. But that's literally exactly how I picture that fight going. Chimaev getting absolutely pinged up on the feet, going for takedowns, failing, gassing out, getting more and more desperate, kind of like he did in the Gilbert Burns fight, getting more and more desperate, and I mean, maybe pray Whittaker can get him out of there, because I'd love that. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see this guy humbled. He's not active enough, Chimaev. He hasn't fought anyone as good as Whittaker. Usman had no kneecaps left. Gilbert, that was Gilbert's last hurrah. That was the last good bit of the last bit of juice Gilbert had was squeezed out of the rag. The last bit of juice Gilbert had, he squeezed out against Chimaev, and it could have been enough, almost was enough, maybe should have been enough. A lot of people think the Usman fight, Usman won. So as soon as he stepped up, there's 2 decisions of just suspect, and I think he's going to get another suspect decision, unless Whittaker can get him out of there. So that's how I see that fight going. Now, this is just, I just can't see either of these guys losing. And yes, Max 7 losses, I know. But this kid, I remember when he came into UFC and my mate was like, oh, this kid's crap, he's skinny, he's not going to go nowhere. And you don't have to believe me. No one's going to believe me. But I promise you, I said when he came in, even though we lost to Dustin Poirier in rapid fashion, I just said, I don't even know why I said it. I just said, this kid's going to be a champion. I said, that kid's going to be a future champion. I did. I said, that kid is going to be a future champion. It was a long time ago, over 10 years ago. But I remember it clear as day saying, that kid is going to be a champion. This Hawaiian kid. I was like, there's something about him. This kid's going to be a champion. I was like, the guy's got 4 fights and he's fighting Dustin Poirier, who's got all the WEC and everything, all that experience. Do you know what I mean? All that WEC experience and stuff behind him. Man, I cannot see Poirier losing. And I mean, at some point, as good as Max's chin is, you can't dine out on your chin forever. And he might have the most strikes landed, but my God, Max is easy to get hit. I really hope Max was just, I mean, surely he'll have worked on not getting hit for this fight if he knows what he's doing, which he obviously does. He's got a great team over there in Hawaii, stayed with him through his entire career. But, man, Ilya is just, I mean, he has half the experience Max has. Not even half, actually, because Max has got 33 fights. So he hasn't even got half the experience Max has. And especially in the UFC. How many UFC fights has Ilya got? Like 5, 6? 7. So he came in with not that many, with only 8 fights as well. So look, Zalal, that was impressive. And it was impressive that Zalal went the distance. I mean, Zalal has fallen off a bit record-wise in UFC, but I was high on that kid. The Tasmanian Moroccan or something. Damon Jackson, that is a really good win. I think people underestimate Damon Jackson. He's a very good fighter, and he's been done on a bit of a... I'm sure Damon Jackson's had a good couple of fights recently, hasn't he? No, he beat Hernandez and lost to Shepe. Okay, he hasn't. Alright. My bad. So let's go back, right. Ryan Hall. No one wanted to fight this guy. And Ryan Hall, I don't know why, I can't stand the guy. No, I shouldn't have anything against him, because he seems like a perfectly nice guy. But he just seems cringe, cocky in a arrogant kind of way, the way he acts, and he used to do the little after his wins, which I can't stand. And he just kept winning fights. And he punched his absolute lights out. The way he defended and just shut his whole game down was almost like Ronda Rousey when she lost. Just exposed. It's over for you. You've been exposed. Everyone knows how to beat you now. You're a one-trick pony. He showed how to win against him. And man, he just beat the piss out of Ryan Hall, and I loved it. I was there for it. I was enjoying it. Not there in person, but you know, I really enjoyed that fight. You know what I mean? Joy Herbert. Now this is the fight he got rocked in. So we forget Topuria can definitely get hurt. He can get hit and he can get hurt. Let's not forget that, because I mean he was hurt badly in this fight, but then came back in round 2, right hook, took him the hell out of there. Bryce Mitchell. Now this was when I thought, holy smokes, this guy is special, because I mean, I'm not saying Bryce Mitchell's a world beater, but he was highly ranked at the time, and he's a damn good fighter, and he showed some impressive stuff. And the way he beat him so bad he retired. I mean, he came back after, but he beat him so bad the kid didn't want to fight anymore. I think Bryce Mitchell couldn't believe what had happened to him. Or he didn't just lose, but he got absolutely dominated from start to finish, and just slaughtered on the ground. It's not like he just got slaughtered on the feet; he got slaughtered on the mat too, and then finished. I mean, that must have been hard for Bryce, but man, that was an impressive finish. Looking at the bonuses he's picking up here as well, these fight bonuses. And then the next fight, this is a fight I always get scared for people when they fight him, because Josh Emmett, he has just that lights out, terrifying power. I can't remember the guy's name. Who was the guy who knocked out when it was recently, not that long ago? Was it the Mitchell win? Yeah, it was the Bryce Mitchell KO, wasn't it? The Bryce Mitchell KO was absolutely terrifying. And yeah, the Bektic one was good too. But oh no, the Michael Johnson one, yeah, that was bad. But no, it was the Bryce Mitchell knockout. I mean, that was absolutely ruthless. I mean, but the way he took him apart, and he was almost finishing him at the end. Wasn't that a 5-round fight? I'm sure that was a fight, the main event, wasn't it? Yeah, 5 rounds. I mean, Topuria looked like the guy off 300 who gets thrown off the cliff but who can't lift the shield. Do you know what I mean? Not that he doesn't look like that anyway, but he looked like a beat up version of that. No disrespect to him. And then, man, the Volkanovski fight. I mean, this guy has just been looking special. So a quick look at Holloway recently. So, other than the Volkanovski fights, I mean, and the lightweight one, Max has just been still on his game, doing what he does. I mean, the guitar performance was impressive. The Yair one, the Yair one was impressive in the way that Max had to mix it up and take him down, because he was getting pieced up in that fight. He's lucky Yair didn't have good takedown defense, because I might have gone a different road. If Yair had some sort of ground game and takedown defense, that could have gone south for Max. Arnold Allen, it's a good win, but wasn't a dominant win, I wouldn't say. I mean, he won, but he didn't dominate. Chang Sung-jung, I mean, the guy was just so washed. He'd been out for so long in the army and just everything like that. The Gaethje performance, that was really impressive. But Gaethje's comfy now. He's made a lot of money. He's towards the end of his career. I don't think he cares about a title. He's got a UFC belt in his house. People, who's going to look back and know if it's interim or not? Who's going to care? He got that belt, didn't he? And it was one of the greatest performances of all time. Ruined our favourite fighter of all time too. Do you know what I mean? Took his soul and it never came back, unfortunately. Rest in peace to Tony Ferguson's fighting career, because we love Tony. But man, when Tony was shaking his head, I mean, I truly believe Herb Dean should have stopped that fight in round 3 or round 4 or something like that. I genuinely believe it. I think someone in the corner, I don't know if he had Edu Bravo in his corner back then and all that, and that lot, other guys, I'm pretty sure he did. But I really feel someone in his corner, Herb Dean, I mean, someone should have stopped that fight. I think, yeah, it was Herb Dean. Yeah, someone really should have stopped that fight. I mean, he waited till Tony's brain was basically shutting down. I mean, the amount of damage he took in that fight was more than some people will take in their entire career. And the only success he had was that uppercut that he dropped Justin with when the bell went in round 2 or something like that. And then Whitman said, look, just take 10% off your punches, take 10%, and then that's what Gaethje did, and that's all she wrote. So man, I'm just banging on you, but this is so difficult to pick. But I don't think Topuria could lose right now. He just feels like that McGregor kind of rise where the MMA gods don't write stories where a guy comes along this talented, this good at the ground, this good on the striking, this powerful, this confident, this Midas touch seeming like ability. The MMA gods don't bring guys like this along for him to fail at their first title defense. They just don't do it. I feel he's at the start of something special, a really special career, and he's young as well. Only UFC champion under 30. I think he's 27, 26, 27. I think he's 27. So man, I hate to even say this, but I think we get a Max beatdown. I don't think he finishes Max. I don't think he stops him. I think Max might win a round maybe Max wins 2 rounds, maybe at a stretch. But I think even if he does, I think the end of this fight, we all know who's won, and I think Max will be wearing it on his face. I think Topuria will have some Max too, but I think I mean people forget that third Volkanovski fight, Max took a bit of a pasting, and you just can't keep fighting that way. I mean, the chin goes eventually, but I still think Max will survive. I don't think he's going to get chinned. And I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see Max win the belt. I would love to see Max win the belt back. It'd be a great story. He probably wouldn't get the credit he deserves because Topuria is still so early in his career, even though he's a champ and he knocked out Volkanovski clean. But yeah, I'm going to have to go with Topuria. What's the odds? He's a fairly sized underdog. And he's coming down from lightweight as well. I always think a guy coming down, having his last fight at 155 and coming down, I don't know. I just don't like this. I just don't like this for Max. I'd rather Max have had his last fight at featherweight, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to have to go with Topuria by decision. Let's just hope Max comes out of the fight healthy, reasonably as he can. And I hope the best man wins, and looking forward to this card. It's going to be a great card. I literally cannot wait to see it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.